It's probably a lot easier than you think to lower your pack weight. Hi, I'm Double Dip. I've hiked the Continental Divide Trail, Colorado Trail, John Muir Trail, Long Trail, and most of Colorado's 14ers. And in this video, I want to give you some tips on lowering your pack weight so you can be a little bit more ultralight out there on the trail. First, let me touch on why you would even want to be more ultralight, because nowadays it can feel like this annoying competition where people feel the need to tell you that their pack weighs less than yours. I've hiked a lot of miles, the CDT, JMT, Colorado Trail, Long Trail, and I've done that with both an ultralight setup and a non-ultralight setup. Unfortunately, I do have to admit that being ultralight makes a huge difference. Most importantly for me, I find that lowering the pack weight on my back reduces my risk of injury. Over these thousands of miles and with every step, the compressive load on your back from your gear places a huge strain on your tendons and your bones, your knees, muscles, ankles, back. All of these things are pretty prone to overuse injuries, and if you can make a few smart choices and make that weight a little bit less, you have a greater chance of completing your hike pain-free. Even outside of the risk of injury, I find that having a lower pack weight makes me feel better while on trail. I wake up feeling a little bit more refreshed. My hips don't hurt as much when I roll over in the night, and I can sit down without my back seizing up. It may not be very fun, but 99% of the advice I'm going to give in this video boils down to things I think you can leave at home. You can, if you want, spend thousands of dollars on the lightest gear made from the lightest material, but at the end of the day, the most ultralight choice is to just not carry that gear at all. Of course, the idea of ultralight comes with a few caveats. Lowering your pack weight is only going to be worth it to you if that smaller weight offsets the discomfort of not having a piece of gear with you. We're probably going to have pretty different ideas of what's worth the weight. So if I say to leave something at home and you don't want to do that, don't listen to me. View all of my advice through the lens of you're going to be happier if you go and get the experience to know what pieces of gear you actually think are worth the wait. And before we jump into it, if you're through hiking in 2026 and you're interested in blogging or vlogging for the trek, head down to the description. I'm going to drop a link there for you to apply. The first piece of advice I have is a little controversial, and it's stop bringing these stupid inflatable pillows with you on every trail. I think these are garbage, absolutely worthless. If I have anything nice to say about it, I haven't thought of it yet. Whatever material they're made out of is horrible. I don't know who decided that that's just what we were going to go with for backpacking pillows. It's crinkly. My ear gets vacuumed to the side if I lay on my side. It makes my cheeks sweat. When I drool, my drool doesn't soak into the material and it just goes back onto my face, and so I'll wake up in a puddle. They're horrible. They might only be 2 to 4 ounces, but it's 2 to 4 ounces that are a joy to cut, especially when you can make a wonderful pillow out of things already in your pack. I'm not a psychopath. I also need a pillow to fall asleep. But instead what I do is I get rid of this thing. Instead, I just shove my rain gear into a stuff sack, and I think that it's perfect. There's enough bulk that it feels like a whole pillow. You can cinch this down to whatever size you want it to be, so if you only have a rain jacket, you can still have a small pillow with enough volume. It conforms to the shape of my face as I roll around. It actually compresses like a pillow is meant to do instead of just a horrible brick filled with air. And I find it to be so much more comfortable. And the best part is it's basically zero weight because it's things I was already going to bring with me on the hike. Okay, so now that we've all agreed, I better not see any of you out there with a pillow ever again because I will throw it in a river. Number 2, also horrible, also worthless, camp shoes. These I will give a little bit more grace to. They are comfortable. I do like the feeling of taking off my shoes at the end of the day. But guess what? You can still take your shoes off at the end of the day. You don't have to put them into another thing that you carry with you. I carried my camp shoes 1,500 miles from Mexico to Leadville, Colorado on the Continental Divide Trail before I finally woke up and saw the light. I use them every night, but it wouldn't have been that bad to just be in my trail runners, especially in these drier climates when trail runners dry so quickly. They weren't ever that soaking wet by the end of the night. I never have the emotional fortitude to stop every time I reach a river and take off my trail runners and put on my Crocs and then repeat the process on the other side of the river. So I just was getting my trail runners wet all the time. I wasn't utilizing my Crocs, and I still had to carry them. I made the decision to send them home. I didn't regret it for a single second. If I have to be in my trail runners for 15 extra seconds at camp, that's fine. It's really not that uncomfortable. You're so happy to not be hiking anymore that you don't really care what shoes you're wearing. And then it makes it even better when you crawl into your tent and you kick off your shoes and you kick off your socks and you're totally barefoot. It's the best feeling in the world other than a shower in town. Camp shoes and inflatable pillows, I think you should just leave behind and not have a replacement. Something like a pack cover, I think you should leave behind and have an actual ultralight replacement. Luckily, it's not $1,000. You can buy it at any Walmart, any Safeway, any grocery store for cents. Pack covers are supposed to protect your bag and its contents from getting wet in the rain, but because of the way it's designed to fit over the bag, there's a huge gap between the back of your backpack and your own back. Unfortunately, I speak from experience when I say that if you're in extended rain, your stuff is going to get wet if all you have is a pack cover. Water will work its way in there, you'll get to camp, you'll pull out your soaking wet sleeping bag, you'll realize you can't actually spend the night because all of your stuff is wet, you'll walk 20 extra miles to town, you'll pull a 45-mile day, you'll cry in the parking lot of a pizza place because the pizza place will be closed because you got there too late, and I don't want that to happen to you. Instead, there's a very easy, very cheap swap, and that's a trash compactor bag. It's basically a heavy-duty trash bag, and you slide it into your pack, put all of your gear inside, and roll your pack up as normal. The outside of your pack will get wet, but that doesn't really matter. The trash compactor bag will actually keep all of your essential things dry, like your quilt and your puffy. A single trash compactor bag lasted me the entire Continental Divide Trail, and I never had a single day where any of my gear got wet. It's wonderful, and you should make that swap. Next, we need to talk about how many of y'all are putting every single little thing in a stuff sack. Most of the gear we have in our bags is compressible, which is really great, and I don't understand why we're all bringing so many little stuff sacks to further organize and try to compress our gear. Particularly when it comes to your sleeping bag or your quilt, I think it's so much more efficient to just shove it into the bottom of your bag and let it fill that interior space the way it wants to, instead of having these weird pockets of air left between the walls of your stuff sack and your backpack. Like a pillow, a stuff sack doesn't weigh that much, maybe 2 ounces, but we're trying to cut all the weight we possibly can, and a very easy way to do that is by leaving your stuff sack at home. Especially if you're using a trash compactor bag, you can just shove all of your gear into your backpack. It won't get wet, it won't get dirty, and if we're being honest, you're not carrying enough stuff with you that you really need it to be hyper organized. You have like 7 things in that backpack. Why do we all have 7 stuff sacks? Leave it at home. Next up, don't bring extra clothes. Obviously, bring what you need to stay safe. A rain jacket, a puffy, whatever. But there's no reason to have 2 different hiking outfits. I think some people do this because they're trying to mitigate their smell. Let it go. You smell horrible. You smell just as bad in your second pair of hiking clothes as you would if you just wore that first pair for another day. And to take it even further, I don't think you need extra clothes to sleep in. You're probably not hiking in your puffy, and if my clothes get really wet, I just take them all off, slip into my puffy, and get in my sleeping bag. And on days when I'm sleeping in my hiking clothes, once I have my sweatshirt over it and I'm kind of buried in my sleeping bag, I'm sealed off from my own smell. I don't even notice it anymore. So this can save you up to £1 if you just don't bring an extra pair of clothes with you. Leave it behind. While we're on the topic of stink, who is bringing deodorant on trail? This gave me an arm workout to pick it up. There's no reason that this should be on your back as you're walking thousands of miles. Again, you're going to smell bad. I promise that Oasis vanilla scented body odor arguably smells worse than just regular body odor. This also applies to scented lotions. Dare I say, little wipes to wipe down at the end of the night. Some people would say toothpaste, not me, but some people. At the end of the day, you're just stinky. Through hiking is a stinky, gross activity. And if you're willing to embrace that stink and just be a little gremlin in the woods, you can save a lot of weight on your back. So ditch the deodorant. No one will thank you for it, but your back will. The other thing you should leave at home is a Swiss Army knife or a multi-tool. I've backpacked with my Swiss Army knife for probably 2,000 miles before finally realizing that the only part of it I used was the little knife. Now I just have a little razor blade that I have wrapped in wax paper, and I use that to open my food packages or cut Luca tape off the roll. Not only are Swiss Army knives surprisingly compact and heavy, but they're pretty expensive. I've lost many Swiss Army knives just because they're so small, and I lose many razor blades, but the razor blade is a lot cheaper to replace than a Swiss Army knife. And once, when I was in a pinch on the long trail, I was able to use the edge of the razor blade as a little screwdriver to tighten a thing on my trekking pole, and that really validated in my head that this is a good swap to make, and there's really no point to the whole Swiss Army knife coming with you. The wax paper is the best thing I've found to keep myself from cutting my finger on a razor blade, but let me know if you have a better idea, because I'm always open to changing my gear list, as long as it's not heavy. This one really surprised me. Did you know that for most brands, the 20,000 milliamp power bank is over twice the weight of the 10,000 milliamp power bank? So this is going to be 2 tips in one. One, and probably the best thing, is to just not use your phone so much. If you don't use your phone a bunch, you don't need to charge it as much, and you can bring a smaller, less powerful power bank along with you. Power banks are pretty heavy, so if you can just cut your weight in half on that, that saves a lot on your back. And if you really need the 20,000 milliamp power bank, do your research, because the brand you're looking at, it might actually weigh less to bring 2 10,000 milliamp power banks along with you. Obviously, this creeps into safety a little bit. Don't find yourself with a dead satellite phone, dead cell phone, dead headlamp, and no way to recharge it. But be smart about the way that you pack and the way that you consume your electronics, because it might save you up to half a pound. Of all of the tips in this video, this one will be the most impactful. And it's simply just the way that you manage your food and water while on trail. Gear can be heavy, gear can be expensive, but at the end of the day, your heaviest thing in your bag is going to be your food bag and whatever water you're carrying with you. Make sure you're prioritizing really calorically dense, lightweight foods. Think foods that are high in fat while low in water, like Spam singles, nuts, cheeses, dehydrated meals, anything that really gives you that full feeling without weighing a ton on your back. It's hard to do, but you should be going into your next town with an empty food bag. The goal is that you've eaten everything and you ate your last bar right before hitting town. Obviously, everyone usually carries a little bit of an emergency dinner with them just in case, but make sure you know your body, you know what you're doing, and then tweak a little bit and adjust it so you're not overpacking and you're not bringing way too much food for your stretch. For water, you should always know where your next water is going to be and how reliable it is. If your next reliable water source is not very far from where you've just filled up, I personally don't see a reason that you should be carrying water in between those 2 stretches. Instead, sit at that river, sit at that lake, chug your liter, hike to the next water source without any water, fill up again, repeat. Obviously, if there's a long stretch between water, really high heats, or you're just someone who likes having water with you while you hike, then yeah, bring water with you. But there's rarely a reason that your entire water capacity should be full and on your back if your water sources aren't really spread that far apart. On the AT, you're usually going to hit a water source every 4 miles. There's no reason to carry 2 liters of water. Do you know how much that weighs? I don't, but it's probably a lot. You heard it here on the trek. Starve yourself, dehydrate yourself. Skeletons weigh less than bodies. So camel up, because I kind of believe water in your stomach weighs a lot less than water on your back. All right, so that was 10 tips to lower your pack weight. And if you follow all of them, pounds are going to disappear off your back. Obviously, your hiking preferences, your style, what trail you're on, what time of year it is, the temperature, your comfort level with the backcountry, all of these things are going to influence how many things you're willing to leave behind. Obviously, safety comes first, and don't just listen to me and follow my packing list. Go out there, get the experience, and then realize what you actually aren't using, what you actually don't need, and leave it at home. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on these. I really want to see someone try to defend the inflatable pillow. If you have any other ultralight tips, please drop them in the comments because I would love to read them. And for more videos like these, make sure to like and subscribe. My name is Double Dip, and I hope to see you out there.